Ready for a deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today, we're diving into the world of Charu Aggarwal.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, his name might not be like a household name.
Right.
But trust me, this guy's work is everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's low-key shaping how we use tech every single day.
Absolutely.
And for this, we're going straight to the source. His profile on AIVIPs.org. Seriously, check it out. It's like a who's who of the AI world.
It's a fantastic resource.
So, Aggarwal, right? Not just some techie in a basement, okay? This guy is a distinguished research staff member at IBM.
That's not just a title. It means he's been at the forefront of making AI actually useful for decades.
Exactly. And AIVIPs.org, they make it super clear this isn't just theoretical stuff.
Right.
We're talking about stuff that affects like healthcare, online shopping.
Even those people you may know, suggestions that pop up on social media, that has roots in his research.
No way.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It all goes back to his work in a way.
That's wild. Okay, we've got this AI heavyweight. He's impacting all these different fields.
It's great.
Where do we even begin with this guy?
Well, let's start with one of his most significant contributions. The concept of stream data mining.
Stream data mining.
Yeah, it's about analyzing data that's constantly flowing, never stops, like a river, you know.
I'm picturing like a fire hose of information.
Yeah.
Just blasting.
Exactly. Think stock prices, sensor readings, all that social media stuff. It's a crazy amount of information to process in real time.
Oh, my brain hurts just thinking about it.
Right. But Aggarwal figured out how to make sense of it all. He developed these algorithms that can sift through these massive data streams and pull out insights without needing to store absolutely everything, and from those insights, make decisions based on the patterns they find.
Okay, so how does that actually work in the real world?
Think about fraud detection, right? You need systems that can analyze transactions as they happen to flag anything fishy. Or in financial markets, those algorithms have to react instantly to changes in stock prices. All of this is possible because of Aggarwal's work.
Wow, okay, so stream data, got it.
Then there's another area where he really made his mark, something called graph mining.
Graph mining. AIVIPs.org mentions that too. That sounds pretty complex.
It can be, but think of it like a map of relationships. You've got points on a map, those are called nodes, and lines connecting them. Those are the connections. Now picture using this map to represent, say, relationships between people on social media or products you've bought.
So like a map, but instead of places, it's showing how things are related.
Exactly. That's graph mining, finding patterns and connections within those networks. And Aggarwal was one of the first to develop algorithms that could analyze these massive graphs effectively.
So that's how these platforms figure out things like who's influential and who's in what social circle.
Exactly. And then they use that to make those eerily accurate recommendations that pop up everywhere.
It's like they're reading my mind. It's kind of creepy.
I know, right? But it's all thanks to Aggarwal's work in a way. But speaking of creepy, there's another side to his work that I think is super important, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, I was going to say, with all this data flying around, privacy has got to be a huge concern.
Exactly. And Aggarwal was ahead of the curve on this. He recognized that we need ways to get insights from data without giving up all our privacy.
Right, because AI shouldn't mean Big Brother is watching your every move.
Absolutely. That's where his work on privacy-preserving data mining comes in. He developed techniques that can anonymize data, so you can still see the big picture and find useful information, but without exposing people's sensitive details.
So it's kind of like blurring out faces in a photo.
Yeah.
You still get the context, but you can't actually identify anyone.
That's a great analogy. And the remarkable thing is, he was championing this long before regulations like GDPR even existed, like way ahead of his time.
Wow, so he wasn't just making AI work, he was making sure it works ethically. That's really impressive.
It is. It's something that sets him apart, you know? He wasn't just focused on the technical side, he was thinking about the human side of it, too.
That's huge. But all this stuff sounds crazy complicated. How did he even get all this knowledge out there? Like, did people even understand what he was talking about?
Well, that's another thing that makes Aggarwal so remarkable. He was a big believer in sharing what he knew. Not hoarding it, but empowering others to build on his work. And one way he did that was through his textbooks.
Textbooks, like the kind you see in college courses.
Exactly. He wrote some of the most influential textbooks in the field, like data mining, the textbook, recommender systems, the textbook, and machine learning for text.
Yeah.
If you want to understand these areas of AI, those are the books to read.
So not just a brilliant researcher, but a gifted teacher too.
Absolutely. And to make things even better, he was a huge advocate for open access. He made a ton of his work, like lecture slides, tutorials, even research papers available online for free.
Wow, that's incredibly generous. It's like he was truly passionate about making these complex topics accessible to everyone.
He really was. He believed that for AI to reach its full potential, knowledge needed to be shared openly. It's about collaboration and building on each other's work, not keeping secrets.
That's great philosophy. And it's clear that Charu Aggarwal lived by it. So we've just scratched the surface of this guy's work. It's incredible to see how much one person has impacted how we use technology.
And we haven't even gotten to the really cool stuff yet, like how his work is shaping the future of AI in fields like edge computing and ethical AI.
I'm already hooked.
Me too. There's so much more to explore. Welcome back.
Okay, so we've talked about stream data mining and graph mining, like in general. But what did Aggarwal actually do? What were his innovations?
All right, so with stream data mining, one of the trickiest things is that patterns change super fast.
Right.
Like what's true now might be totally different in a second.
Yeah.
It's called concept drift, and it messes up traditional data analysis methods.
It's like, how do you build something solid when the ground's always moving under you?
Exactly. And that's what Aggarwal solved. He came up with algorithms that can adapt to concept drift as it happens. They're constantly learning and updating based on the latest patterns in the data.
That's crazy.
This was huge for real-time applications like fraud detection. Like, think about a system that analyzes credit card transactions as they happen, flagging anything suspicious, even if the fraudsters are changing their methods all the time.
Wow, so it's like giving these algorithms a sixth sense or something?
It kind of is. They can anticipate and adapt to change instantly.
That's wild.
And it goes beyond just adapting. Aggarwal also had to deal with the sheer scale of the data. Stream data is massive, so his algorithms had to be incredibly efficient, able to process tons of info without slowing down.
So they're not just smart, they're super fast too.
Exactly. He could combine theoretical ideas with practical solutions. It was really remarkable. And his work in stream data mining is still super relevant today. His algorithms are used everywhere, from monitoring network traffic to analyzing what's trending on social media in real time.
It's mind-blowing that all this is going on behind the scenes, shaping the digital world we use every day.
I know, right? It's incredible. And then there's graph mining, which is just as impactful. We talked about it earlier, but let's dig a little deeper.
Okay, so reminder, graphs are basically maps of relationships, right?
Right. And Aggarwal developed algorithms that could analyze these huge networks, finding hidden connections and patterns.
It's like using a map to see how everything's connected, whether it's people on social media or products on Amazon.
Precisely. And one of his key contributions was something called frequent subgraph mining. So imagine you're looking at a social network as a graph.
Okay.
You want to find common patterns of connections, like groups of friends who all know each other.
Right.
That's what frequent subgraph mining does. It finds these repeating patterns within the network.
So it's like finding the basic building blocks of how people connect with each other.
Exactly. And this is super valuable for all sorts of things, like understanding how online communities form, figuring out who the influencers are, even predicting how information spreads on social media.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for social dynamics. That's so cool.
It is. And he didn't stop there. He also looked at how to use these graph mining techniques to make recommendation systems even better.
Oh, interesting.
By understanding how people are connected, you can make better predictions about what they might be interested in.
Makes sense. Like, if you know what my friends like, you probably have a better idea of what I'll like, too.
Exactly. Aggarwal's work led to recommendation algorithms that take into account not just what you like, but what people in your network like, too.
So that's why I keep getting recommendations for things my friends are into.
Yep. It's like the algorithm is tapping into word of mouth, using our social connections to figure out what we'll want.
That's so clever. It all comes back to connections and relationships, right? Whether it's data points in a stream, people in a network, or even ideas in a database.
You got it. Aggarwal's work gave us a whole new toolbox for understanding these complex, interconnected systems. And it's at the core of so many AI applications we use today.
It's incredible how one person can have such a huge impact. But it's clear that Aggarwal's contributions go way beyond just the technical stuff, right? He was also really focused on the ethical side of AI.
Absolutely. He knew early on that AI has the potential to be amazing, but it could also be really dangerous if we're not careful.
Yeah, it's not enough to just make AI that works. We need to make sure it works for good.
Exactly. And Aggarwal was a big advocate for ethical AI development. He talked about the need for transparency, fairness, and accountability in these systems.
Okay, so it's like we need to make sure AI is aligned with our values and doesn't make existing problems worse.
Right. And all of his work on privacy preserving, data mining, transparency, and fairness is even more important now as AI gets more powerful and more widespread.
It's a good reminder that we have to be really thoughtful about how we develop and use AI in the future.
Couldn't agree more. It's not just about the technology, it's about the impact it has on people and society.
Wow, we've covered so much about Charu Aggarwal. Stream data mining, graph mining, AI ethics. It's amazing how much one person has done.
It really is. His work has had such a wide reach, you know?
Yeah. And AIVIPs.org, they really point this out, how his work has gone beyond computer science. Like it's shaping how we approach problems in healthcare and social science and stuff.
Definitely. Take healthcare, for example.
Yeah.
His work on stream data mining, it's revolutionized patient monitoring.
How so?
Imagine, like, sensors tracking vital signs constantly.
Okay.
And they alert doctors if something looks off, even before it's a real problem.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like an early warning system for your health.
Exactly. And his algorithms are being used to predict outbreaks, analyze medical images for early diagnosis, even personalize treatments based on someone's data.
So it's about being proactive, preventing problems instead of just reacting to them.
Exactly. And then there's graph mining. It's being used in social sciences and economics to understand these really complex systems.
Okay, I'm curious. How does that work?
Well, think about tracking the spread of information or misinformation online. You could use graph analysis to see how ideas move through social networks.
Interesting.
Or you could use it to model economic systems, predicting market changes based on all these interconnected factors.
So it's like a new way of looking at these really complicated systems.
It is. And he didn't just keep this knowledge to himself. Through his textbooks and all those open access resources, he's empowered countless others to use these tools and come up with new innovations.
It's really inspiring.
It is. You know, looking back at Aggarwal's career, it's like he saw the future of AI before anyone else.
Yeah, he was way ahead of his time.
And his focus on ethical AI, that's going to be his most important legacy, I think. As AI gets more powerful, making sure it's used responsibly is crucial.
It's a big responsibility, right?
Yeah.
We have to make sure AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Absolutely. Aggarwal's work on privacy, transparency, and fairness in AI, those are things we need to keep in mind as AI keeps evolving.
Definitely. So, to wrap things up, Charu Aggarwal, he's more than just a brilliant computer scientist.
He's a true visionary.
He shaped AI through his technical work, but also through his commitment to ethical development and sharing knowledge.
A true pioneer.
Huge thanks to AIVIPs.org for putting together his profile. It made this deep dive possible.
It's an invaluable resource for anyone interested in AI.
For sure. And to all our listeners, keep learning, keep asking questions about AI and its role in our world. It's a fascinating field, and the future is wide open.